Hello there. One of the recurring themes in Citizenship in a Republic is the theme of work and how not only is it important, but it is vital to the nation. Now, Roosevelt answers this question indirectly. Why is work so important? In this speech, he's talking about how France and the United States as representative republics stand apart from all other forms of government, because in a representative republic, the mettle of each citizen matters more. It's not some sort of government where a single person or a small group of people are able to drag everyone else along. I think if Roosevelt had lived to see it, he would say that the Soviet Union would have been a good example of a country where the strength of the leadership drug along a citizenry who were not of the same mettle as the leadership. And so what does this mean for us? Well, it means that, in Roosevelt's words, that in a representative republic, the mettle of the nation can only be the average of its citizenry, that the leadership is not as important, that they can't just pull people along because they are elected, they are representing us. And so this is why there's such emphasis on work and character and the individual citizen. Let's go ahead and take a look at an excerpt that speaks to this. The need that the average man shall work is so obvious as hardly to warrant insistence. There are a few people in every country so born that they can lead lives of leisure. These fill a useful function if they make it evident that leisure does not mean idleness, for some of the most valuable work needed by civilization is essentially non-remunerative in its character, and of course the people who do this work should in large part be drawn from those to whom remuneration is an object of indifference. But the average man must earn his own livelihood. He should be trained to do so, and he should be trained to feel that he occupies a contemptible position if he does not do so, that he is not an object of envy if he is idle, at whichever end of the social scale he stands, but an object of contempt, an object of derision. So what can we take from this? Well, we can take that Roosevelt thinks that work is important for earning an income, that supporting one's family is honorable, and that if you don't, you should be looked upon as a scoundrel, someone who is contemptible. But he also looks at work in another way, that those who don't need to support themselves, who don't need to earn an income, who are financially independent, must also work. And so there must be something to work beyond just earning a living and supporting one's family. And I think that what Roosevelt is getting at here is that once we have made enough to support ourselves, we have a duty to support those beyond ourselves, whether those be extended family or a nation, or a city, community, the world. I think that Roosevelt is giving us a call to altruistic action. And so once you've taken care of yourself, and Roosevelt believes you must take care of yourself first, that if you take care of your nation but not your family, you are a laughingstock. You should be ridiculed. So take care of yourself first. There's great honor in that. And that if you are able, you should do more than that. You should be able to take care of your city, your state, your country. You should be able to contribute there with whatever else is left over once your family has been taken care of. And I think that this brings in the distinction between idleness and leisure. Idleness is the lack of activity. This is not acceptable if activity is possible for you. If you are incapable of working, I think you're exempted from what Roosevelt is saying. But I believe that he would also say that you should do whatever you are capable of doing, regardless of if it's what you had initially been trained to do. If you had a motorcycle accident and you can't walk anymore, that might make it difficult being a construction foreman. That if you can't do that, you should find something else to do. You should not sit at home being idle. And then we have leisure. Leisure is the state of being financially independent, not needing to work for a living, and in which case you should still be engaged in some sort of meaningful work. And given Roosevelt's claim that it should be a non-remunerative work, that work where you're not compensated or are poorly compensated, I would assume he's referring to politics. Because at that point in our history, politicians were very poorly compensated, especially when you compare to the full-time pay that politicians are able to earn nowadays. So I think that that's the takeaway, that regardless of if you need money, you should work. That even if you don't need to support your family through the work of your arms and the sweat of your brow, that you should be contributing to the world, because you only have so long here. And work is far more meaningful than leisure. And you can have an impact as a teacher or a politician or a lawyer or a doctor, even if you don't need the money. And that what you do to make the world better is, let's use the word duty, is a duty you have as a human being. So I hope that you and I can both fulfill our duties, that we can take care of ourselves, our families, and then the nations we belong to. Until next time, cheers.